Right. So even before talking about how we are leveraging AI here at Cashfree, we need to understand what are the problems or challenges, right? Why did we even think that AI can help? So even before revealing that, I would want you folks to help me. What do you think the key challenges are, like for any fintech, where you think the AI can help? Yeah, yeah. Sorry, fraud. Awesome. Lending, yes. Awesome. Anything else? Someone said collections. Yeah, but how do you think AI can help there? I mean, I'm curious, just trying to understand. Okay. It's like scoring. It's like profiling scoring. Okay, okay, got it. I mean, I had a different thing when you said collections. Okay, got it. Cool. Sorry? Lending loans, I think something very similar. It's like profiling the customers and then, yeah. Sorry? Awesome. Yeah. Bill payments. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay, cool. Um, so before even going into the next slide, let me do some, bit of talking. I think most of you are right. Most of you, what all you have said on key challenges, right? They are right. But if you sort of zoom down a little bit, right, all of these challenges would exist at scale. All of them that you talked about, fraud. Let's say I have just one merchant or one customer for that matter, and he's doing only like 10 transactions. I can very well comfortably sit on a desk and then I can screen everything. I can approve that it is good or not good. But what happens when you have like 1,000 merchants, when you have 10,000 merchants, when you have 1 lakh merchants, when you have 10 lakh merchants, when you have 50 lakh merchants? What do? Right? I hope you are trying to get the problem that I was talking about. Um, while fraud detection, profiling, and identity, right? Identity or KYC that you're talking about, all of them are problem compliance. I think someone said compliance. While we have multiple ways to solve the problem. One have people thrown at these problems saying that you sit and get this done, but it is always there is a limitation, right? And necessity is what is a mother of invention. That's what I see a lot of people telling about it. And uh, and and like I said, right, we can throw people at this problem, but you'll always hit that ceiling saying that, hey, look, I'm operationally super non-efficient. I cannot burn so much by having so many people sit and get things done. We can move on to the next slide. Yeah, I this is what I actually wanted to talk about. If you see, yes, fraud and everything. What is the cause of the fraud? When does a fraud happen? Yeah, but yes, it is the intention, right? There are like some bad actors in the system, right? Which probably they're not operating the way that you want them to operate, right? I think that's where it stems. Everything stems from that, right? Probably for this topic, I'm talking about the external bad actors, right? So because of that, what happens? Like fraud, what does that mean? It's a direct liability on, let's say, we are into fintech and payments domain. It's a direct liability on us, right? Like if some merchant does fraud on us, we have to take that hit. And as per compliance, I think someone just said, if we have a lot of fraud actors, and then let's say it becomes like a issue where a lot of people talking about, and RBI tries scrutinize like what exactly is this. I think in the recent past there were some loan app frauds that happened where people used to give out loans, very minimal loans, and they used to extract like 30, 40, 50% in return. There was a crackdown by RBI. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's right. So a few applications were banned. But if you see, right, for all of this to happen, they need some payment gateway. They need some payment partner, right, to collect, right? Now RTI comes and says that, hey, look, why are you onboarding such people? Don't you do risk check? Don't you do profiling? Don't you know that they're doing all of this? And why didn't you stop? So if you see, bad actors would end up, creating a problem, for, the company as a whole, right? There is like always some legal slash, compliance issue that comes. And fraud, like I said already, right? We end up losing money because of the fraudsters and we're not able to catch them. But interestingly, there is one more problem that we have seen at scale, right? Which is, on the other side, it's that people we onboarded quite a few set of merchants, right? Few lakhs, right? If I'm not wrong. And they reach out to us saying that, hey, look, can you just help me? I've done a payment. My customer is saying that this money was deducted, but you said that the payment was failed. He's still not received his refund or reversal, whatever, right? And then they keep putting us queries. Can you just help? Can you check what is happening? I couldn't find any information, and so on and so forth. So as we scaled, right, I think this also is like one of the problems that we have seen. Again, right, going back to the same this one, we can have people who can solve this. Like I can hire like a big support team, who can look at the queries. As we scaled, if I'm not wrong, we have like few hundreds to few thousands, few double-digit thousand of tickets coming on a monthly basis. So you can assume, the kind of scale that we are at right now. Right. So, and what happens, right? If there are humans who are looking into tickets, who are trying to classify them, who are trying to address them, they'll it tends that the delay will creep in, right? There are like too many tickets in the pipeline. No matter how much optimizations you put, the delay will go on and on and on. And since we are in payments, right, I think that makes it even more, the merchants are very curious. Hey, look, my customer has done the payment, and he's still not received, especially the high ticket value items, right? For example, there are a few customers. I have a Hyundai car. I take a lot of examples, but I have a Hyundai car. I went to service station and I was paying the service charge, how much they were charging me. So typically I couldn't actually go, but they said, "Hey, look, I'll send a link, pay." I didn't know that Hyundai was Cashfree's customer till then. I saw Cashfree's link and then I was like sort of happy. Then the next time when I went, right, I went directly to their account manager asking that, "Hey, look, how are things? How Cashfree is working for you." He said a lot of good things about Cashfree, right? But he also said, "Ki, hey, look, sometimes the reversals, right? It might take time. Can you just help with that?" I said, "Yeah. I mean, I'm always approachable. In case if you find any issues, you can get back to me." Anyways, I mean, just taking that as an example. If you see there, the curiosity comes up, right? Ki, hey, look, my customer has done some payment. Probably it took 1 hour for him to get the money back. But let's say he gave a down payment of 5 lakh for a car. The payment failed, right? Because of a number of reasons, right? Probably something which is not directly influenced by cash free as well, right? He says, "Hey, look, what's happening," right? And it's like 5 lakh rupees. I mean, you have to give it back to me. It's not like 15, 20 rupees or 1,000 rupees that I cannot be curious about. So fastness is something which is absolutely a must-have at scale, right? I think, yeah. So how are we solving all of these problems at scale? How we are leveraging AI? I think I'll have Aditya and Hardik, give the entire walkthrough of it. You want to take over? Oh, yeah, sorry, my bad. This was the thing that I was talking about, that we're using AI, and all of this is something that we are trying to solve for at Cashfree. Oh, before handing over, I had like one, question. Do you find anything in this image and the images that I've used in the previous slide? How do you think they have come? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have used AI to generate this. So yeah, one more thing that AI can help not just fintechs but everyone is like give good presentations. Okay, cool. I think I'll hand it over to Aditya. He'll talk, more about the fraud risk.
Perfect. Hi, folks. Thanks, Prashant, for setting up the context and enlightening these attendees. So, I want to ask you folks. So, I think Prashant talked about the bad actors in our systems and how we want to deter them. So, I want to ask you how we can, prevent people from becoming bad actors or onboarding bad actors. So, we call our customers merchants. So, throughout their journey at Cashfree, we start looking at how we can reduce fraud. So during the onboarding process, there are a lot of steps in place. So I want to ask you folks, what do you feel are those steps? What steps can we take?
Check if they're logging with the same GST number.
Check if they're logging with the same GST number. So identity, history, history of the merchant. But this is a new merchant we're onboarding, right?
Tenure of the
Tenure as
tenure in the business.
tenure of the business.
Maximize referrals.
Referrals, okay.
Through existing customers instead of onboarding, because new unidentified and unregulated customers would be very difficult to for account.
Right, but we do have customers who do not come through referrals. So in those cases,
Type of business.
type of business, yes,
How much risky you are in that business?
yes,
Probationary period for every new merchant with a lesser risk.
right. So, but by using ML, I think these are many of you have hit the nail on the head that identity checks are required. Are the identity details valid? I think somebody talked about the GST number. So is it if you talk about PAN, is it a business PAN or is it an individual PAN? So that is something. The bank account details, are the bank account details that they're providing, are they valid? Right. But the biggest information that we get are through the merchant websites. Is the website valid and working? We'll take a look at this in detail. Right? But only after all these checks are done do we approve a new merchant. Right? So let's take a look at all these entities one by one. So is the website valid and working? This is generic security checks with the technical website details. Is it live? How old is the domain? Is the SSL certificate valid? I think these are very standard pipelines, and similar is the case for this, where the website does the website have any content? Is it just a blank template? Is it even a web page? Is it even a storefront? Right now, this is one of the most important things. Does the website have relevant policy pages? Why do you feel policy pages are important? Not Cashfree's policy page, our customer's policy page. Why do you feel they are important? Regulatory issues. Correct. So correct. That is one of them. Legal issues, right? So I'll again give an example where one of our customers, our merchant, they don't have a refund policy in place, and they have defrauded their customers. Now the end customer comes to us and says, "Hey, you onboarded such a merchant. I am going to file a complaint." This reduces customer trust in us in Cashfree. We incur loss, and we essentially onboard bad actors into our system. So this is why policy pages are a huge deal in onboarding a new merchant, where we check, are these policy pages in place? Do the policies make sense? Does the refund policy make sense? I think that is one of the biggest indicators of a bad actor. Now, if our scale was small, then we could have one or two people looking at all these new customers that are coming in. But if we have thousands of onboardings every day, we cannot have humans in the loop, or we can only have humans in the loop for a very limited set of customers. So we leverage GenAI for this, where we pass the website content, send it to an LLM, asking, are these policy pages in place? Do the policy pages make sense? So I think this is a very important use case for GenAI that we have in Cashfree, right? So this is only one of them. Next is the website selling any prohibited item? Even if they have the policy pages in check, there is still going to be some sort of merchants that are going to be risky or more prone to be fraudulent. Something like crypto, gambling, Ponzi schemes, right? you are going to get fraudulent merchants in them. It is a guarantee. So we have to check on their website, are they selling any such risky services? Are there any risky keywords that are found on their websites? Now, one way you can do this is a regex check. What is it? What is an issue with the regex check? Semantic as in? That is one of them. Regex check. So you check the keyword one by one.
Come up with some alternate name. Maybe A instead of using SI character A, they can use some other A, and your regex will not match it, or maybe some other similar character.
That is also one of them. But I think the biggest indicator for us is it leads to a lot of false positives. So if we have a regex check in place and it keeps on flagging every merchant because there might be some keyword on their website, then the entire purpose of the automation is rendered useless. So there are going to be false positives. In fact, there are a lot of false positives. So again, we have to rely on GenAI to tell us whether this web page is risky in this context. We have a set of guidelines and we rely on LLMs to tell us whether it is actually risky. This helps us reduce false positives by a lot. And as I was talking about products and services, I think somebody also mentioned that there are going to be some set of merchants that are going to be more risky. Right? So we have to take a look at what do they actually sell. What products are our merchants selling? There are MCC codes, which are merchant category codes, which is a generic guideline to define each type of merchant, whether it is in e-commerce, is it in gaming, is it in something else. So our job again is to categorize all our merchants into one of these buckets. How do we go ahead and do that? We cannot directly send the website content to ChatGPT and say, okay, tell me what category it falls under, because of context length issues, and there is going to be a lot of junk text in the merchant website which is not relevant to their business. So how do you feel should the pipeline be?
We can grab that thing and we can ask them that GenAI, you can pass that information and pass the context.
Again, you can do that, but then you will have context length issues and you will have junk text issues.
Get the relevant content and send it.
Okay.
I don't the registration type of the business, what they're stating in the.
Then we would have to take the merchants at their word. Okay, that is also one of them. Right, so that can also be done, but there are many other ways that our merchants commit fraud. So we do have to look at what exactly are they selling on their website that they provide to us, right? So we go through their website. Again, we use GenAI, but to only extract what products are being sold. So we are actually condensing the information that we actually require. Yes. Right. So on top of the GenAI stack, I think we have inbuilt LLM, the non-LLM models, normal ML models, which we use to categorize our merchants. Now these are all the checks that happen on websites, on our merchant websites. There are external checks also in place, something like Google reviews. What are the Google reviews saying? Are they positive? Are they negative? Sentiment analysis can be done on Google reviews. Right? What is their social media presence like? Are the sentiments good? Are they bad? Right. So if they have apps, what are the sentiments on the app reviews? So maybe the merchant tells to us that, okay, we are in education, we want to get onboarded with Cashfree because we want to sell education services. But on the Google reviews, we see that they are into gaming. So that is something we catch using external checks. Now, many of these, I think almost all of these use cases use GenAI in some way or the other. Now, these are very much disjointed and may require different set of inputs, will give different set of outputs. So what do you feel is the issue with that?
Data privacy.
Data privacy, okay. Public information, okay, that is one side of things. The answer that I'm looking for, or the thing that we should all think about, is these are very much disjointed things, but they use the same underlying technology, right? So for one use case, one team is building a different LLM stack, the other team is building a different LLM stack. So we have come up with the framework for GenAI at Cashfree, where I will now explain why this was required, what the issues were. So this is how the general pipeline goes, like where somebody has an idea, usually product, for any use case. They call a developer to create a POC. Right? Developer has to create all the LLM wrappers. Now they will get data from product. Then they will validate the POC on the data. They will give back the results. Now the product will validate it. And once we get the green light, then again we will have to spend effort developing the application and then deploying it. Now, what are the issues with this? What are the challenges? Challenges are such. Within tech, we have to create wrappers for each and every application. Right? We have to manage the credentials. We have to manage the API keys, right? which also comes under overheads, which is API credit management. There is always going to be engineering dependency from product into tech when they ask us to create a POC. Right? Our workflow is hampered because we are hard coding prompts into our services, right? And there is no testing framework. And time to market also struggles because again we are spending so much time building redundant systems. Right? So what is the solution to this? Solution to this is somebody has an idea for a use case. They only have to create a single config file and they can test it on the code playground. We will go through the code playground in some time, and the entire validation can be done on the code playground by the product folks. So before it comes to a developer, the product already knows that this is a viable path and it is going to work. Now, even on developer side of things, the coding and development is reduced because there is a centralized framework where there is a proper groundwork for testing, for validation, for everything. And deployment is just running a simple pipeline. Within 5 minutes, you can be up and running with any new use case. So this is how things happen, where any user comes in, they can go check out the code playground, they can test out different prompts, they can set system prompts, everything. They can take that template, push it to a code repository, which then pushes it to S3. Now, if any other external application calls one of our framework endpoints, then the template is fetched from S3 and the entire abstraction is taken away from the external application where, oh, do we have to go to Bedrock? Do we have to go to OpenAI? That is managed by the framework. How is this creating value? This is creating value because we don't have to create wrappers. Developers don't have to create wrappers every time. There is no need to worry about credentials. Workflow is improved because with a Git repository, there is a proper versioning system in place. There is a testing framework. So the workflow is also improved. There are lower overheads because there's no code maintenance, API credit management, right? And your time to market is also incredibly less. So it is much improved. Now we have used this framework to automate a lot of GenAI applications at Cashfree. I think all of the use cases that I had defined above. We also have customer support applications, customer support automations that go through this framework, and there are document processing and identity management use cases as well. So I was talking about the risky keywords on merchant website use case we had. So let's jump onto that demo. So, okay. If on the merchant website we find the word guns, we want to know, is it actually risky? So we sell guns. We just have a template on the right which defines all the guidelines, right, in one single file, and this will give you can test it on this code platform as well, where you can write different prompts, you can test different prompts, and it will give you your LLM response key. It is risky. You can see it is risky is equal to true. But what if the merchant was selling massage guns? I think Decathlon also sells such things. We don't think Decathlon is a risky merchant. So what if the context was different? So instead of selling guns, it is selling massage guns. Over here we get is risky is equal to false, because guns in this context is not considered as risky. I think that concludes it from my end. I call Hardik to talk about user verification and transaction fraud.
Thank you, Aditya, and good morning, everyone, again. So now, once we have policy checks, we onboard good merchants. What good merchants expect? What does he want to grow his business? Any one of you? What are good merchants want?
Customers,
Exactly. But all customers,
customers who pay. I mean, good
fraudsters also pay,
good customers,
right?
as long as I
Good customers. Anything else? Right, that part of it. But in that, that is also there. But yeah, right. That all that is there. What I would meant is, if a bad customer onboards, entire business suffers. We have cases where, let's say, you start a D2C brand and someone in Jamtara got to know about it and your checks are low. They just abuse your platform. And then you come to us, okay, in one day, crores of rupees, something chargebacks came on me and what I do. You will shut down your business. And that will a lot of cases. It's happening with the small SMB, small, medium businesses who are just starting up, right? So what do they want? They want good merchants, good users also onboarded. Now these comes on the all KYC part of it and how they can do it. I will give you the first use case, the name match. It happens so frequently. It looks trivial, right? It is the most used tool, or let's say thing to verify entity. You go on do KYC, you submit your PAN, and you also create your name on the platform, right? Does this match? You onboard business, the GST number or their PAN number, the name behind it, does it match? Right? On the checkout, whenever you enter your card name, does the card you are using, those names are same or not? That also happens on the same name match, right? So many use case where two strings are there, but now it is on name, which is your identity. So what happens? It's look trivial. You have two strings. You only have to do string similarities, right? But that is not it that trivial in Indian context, especially. So here are three cases of name sets which I have here. Lot of cases in India have salutations and their daughter of, care of, right? Those stuffs are there. South Indian people don't use their full family name. They have abbreviations, right? Here you can see people skipping their middle name, right? Or use abbreviations or something like the spellings are different. They mistakenly enter spelling different. In the third case, you see names are very similar. Sounds are very similar, just only one word. Now, certain things it can capture, certain algorithms it can capture, certain it's not. So different types of variation within Indian name specifically. And when we were using it, we realized no open easily solutions or the models which are yes.
each of these names will be registered with a certain PAN number, even if they're different, they'll be got that is a two separate.
Right. Right. So let's say what I'm saying here, you give this name and this name is coming from your PAN. That is what I'm saying. This is what entity is matching.
Individuals with different PAN numbers. So that will be
That one case, but ideally no one want that. You want then that guy to be onboarded. If you are a business, your business name is your PAN name, right? So some things are there. What I was saying, when we were researching about it, we were using earlier vendors who were providing these solutions. But then we realized in Indian context where we are collecting payments throughout of India, it was not working. Then we looked into it, what were the issues? And then these categories came. Now, how do we handle all of this? Some things are very easy to look like these all salutations can be handled via pre-processing. Then a lot of things. And then second, to move on, you look here, these things can be handled via which we simply call string matching algorithms, where you have two strings, you calculate the distance. Lot of algorithms are Lensline distance and Jaro-Winkler are there to do this. But these also suffer. If you guys have used, you might suffer. These calculate based on the elements, how much elements I can add so that I match the other name or how much I remove it. But what if only one element, like Ankita Sharma and Ankit Sharma, only one element changes, but the gender changes, profile changes? These suffer there. Then there you need to bring phonetics because Ankita and Ankit sounds very different, right? So these things have different nuances. Now all of these things also have their own issues. Here you have to maintain such big pre-processing checks. Entire India, different salutations, Shri, Master, Doctor, right, respected, lot of things. And then here also, as I mentioned, fuzzy string matching doesn't have the phonetics key mention. They mention how they calculate actually how much elements they want to change, and then it calculates for. But when one element is getting changed, they doesn't punish that much. And similar is case with the phonetics. They doesn't work, which expected as string matching algorithms. So what we actually done is we have an entire amalgamation at Cashfree where we are utilizing all of these algorithms in an ensemble manner, and then calculates a final score. Then the final score also has some rules which is business driven, then how we want to punish and not, how threshold merchant can put it. But this is a just idea. If you want to build it, you can use these things at first. Here, no ML model is placed. Something very trivial can solve your problem. Latencies are very good in control, and these are very cheap, right? Now, second step is once you do your name match, I'm sure in KYC you have seen people in video KYC agents ask you to stay put and they will click your picture, right? And a lot of places also they expect your faces. They want to do a liveliness check if a real person is sitting in front of you or not, right? So these are the cases where it's not live. Here it will look like live, but the image has a name on printed out. In KYC, you don't want anyone interfere in your background. So if a third person is coming, a second person is coming, you want to be alerted, right? These are the typical cases. So what we do here is, before going into it, how would you approach this? If you want to build, looks like a classification problem, something, right? But how would you solve it? I think a lot of people must have done on Campbell competitions. What trivial thing or difficult thing here is? They will do it. I mean, what I mentioned here is these pictures are taken by the agents only, but no company can rely on agents call. They want to do a second level of security checks as well. This is silent anti-spoofing. So we have live spoofing where you have to rotate your head, right? But this is when you do want to do only for image. This is second type of area. Latencies are also controlled. You don't need live feed. Cost is also less. So this is one also application in the industry, right? So what I was trying to mention here is in Kaggle competition, we want to maximize our accuracy. I find blur, I will handle that blur. If I find glare, I will handle it. I will grayscale it, all of that. But when you want a good customer, you want that strictness to be there. If it is blur, I will reject it. You upload a new photo, right? So those checks are there in place first. And once those are passed, then only we will allow anything. So what we have done is identified a lot of checks, which RBI also mentions or our merchants also say that, okay, we need these things to be ensured and then only I will do anything. Then there are business cases. If you are multiple faces there, you let me know. I will take the call. Sometimes businesses allow, sometimes they don't. And then after that, you have your anti-spoofing or face liveness models in place. To do this, what happens sometimes the face size is very less in the image, right? To increase that accuracy, you first need to do the face segmentation. So there are a lot of models we use is retina face is the very good model in the right now in benchmarks. What it does it before even do anything, it crops, identifies the face and then crops that part. And once you have the face, then it calculates a anti-spoofing score. We use a fastnet model, which is face anti-spoofing network. It's a model built by Chinese company Baidu. You might be aware about it. They're leaders in CV technology, so they have open source this. Now this is one part of it. What happens in next KYC step? You also provide your PAN, right? Sure. It will detect. This fastnet model will detect this is not likely. All of these are failed, rejected. So this anti-spoofing model segment this part, and the anti-spoofing models work in that way that it tries to gauge the depth using Fourier transform. I think you guys can read about it. The special type of model is built for this silent anti-spoofing where you have only image, not the 3D part of it. Now, once you have images, you have PAN Aadhaar also, right? People ask, please, I want to click the image of your Aadhaar. what is the use case? First, they want to check your identity, and second, they want to match, are these two people same or not? I think it happened with me. My Aadhaar photo was of my child age. When I went to passbook office, they rejected it. That okay, I know it looks same, but your age is my gap is very big, right? So they will reject it. So what we do, we also offer a similar service. It also follows the same pipeline, but here now you have two images, right? You also do same checks, blur detection, flow detection. If multiple faces are there, you also let them know. But now in the end, once you segmented these two faces, now face embedding models come into play. And FaceNet is one of the model which we are using. FaceNet, and there is a FaceNet 520 dimensional model also. Its weights are big, but accuracy is high. So these two compares the face, and say these are the examples you can see. Good guy looks good, but here is the second guy. This should be rejected, and here the face is entirely blue. Yes, please.
All the cloud providers provide all these services, like Azure has KCP. Have you evaluated how much cost difference?
We have cost differences there, and for us, the accuracy is also important. Cloud is trained on US citizens. We are talking about Indian citizens. Our merchants care about Indian faces. Eventually, initially we were doing that, but when later accuracy was down, cost we can bear at the scale we can incur. I mean, we can expect that cost to be there. All these models are open sourced, and then we have hosted in our services. But yeah, for starters, AWS, GCP models work well. Yes. Fingerprint, that doesn't come in the onboarding process of the user, but
That is also very implementable and doesn't change. And it is very for all other official documents.
right, got it. That we can do. It doesn't right now comes into the entire onboarding process because biometrics comes as a very high secure PII data, which I'm not sure if merchants are allowed to take it, right? So these things are the trivial in the KYC process. What do we do with it? Cash free, we obviously we do with merchants, but a small merchant like you who just started and wants to we offer these APIs out of the box to those merchants. You integrate the payment collection part of it. We will offer you the onboarding suite of user identification for it. Now, quick demo, all of which we have developed will show the API responses. First, we'll quickly show the name match. I have two very good name match examples. Aditya, can you increase the width? So the first name here you see a lady named Mrs. Rasuli BVN, right? Rasul BVN, sorry. And the second name here, the Rasul and BV is splitted, and then he has a father's name separated by daughter of, right? Complicated name. We handle all of that checks. Can you run that? And it gives you the final score, no match, right? And it also gives you the scores I was talking about. So these are the ensemble scores which we use, and the final score is based on a decision, a business logic which we have built to calculate it. Can you run the second name? Here is also a typical name of South Indian people, right? They use their family name as initials or something like that. Now, how do I infer P means Periswamy, right? And in name context, we know it understand, but by strings of it, we cannot do. Let's see what the result are. It passes, but it gives you a moderate potential check because rest of the things, Bala Murugan stays in the string. Now this goes to the business owner. Now this businesses take the call. What threshold they want to set. We give them the categories and score. Depending on their riskiness, they do it. If they are in mutual funds or let's say brokerage, they don't want, but an e-commerce guy would have accepted this. So that's there. Next, we'll quickly show the liveliness APIs. Liveliness first. So this was the photo, right? What do you guys think? This is live or not? Not live, right? It takes time. These are on the lower environments. But in the yeah. So it says true. Aditya is the face images, right? This is face match, right? This is not liveliness. Anyway, right. Eh? Can you check the body? Okay. Can we go to the second example? Something is not right. Yeah, this guy which we discussed here, photo looks real, but it has a date imprinting which tells this is a screenshot or something. Got it. This is false, and we also say face detect. I mean, reason is face detected, but there is, and then you will get multiple reasons where multiple faces are there, so you will get that expected reason. Cool. Back to the presentation. Cool. Now, once you onboarded good merchants, the merchant onboarded good customers, things looks good, right? But that doesn't happen. You have third-party interventions where fraud happens. You are a good guy, merchant is a good guy, but still fraud happens. You will ended up in you're losing money. Merchant gets a chargeback case. Both are suffering. How, as a fintech company and a payment aggregator, how ensures those things are very limited, right? Now, when before going even in, we built lot of fraud detection models. We get credit card data, all of it. All of this is only useful if you can prevent before a transaction settles. That is only the outcome. I don't need post processing. Okay, this was flagged, but okay, what money is already transferred. You have to stop it in real time within the latencies, so your customer is also satisfied, right? How are we doing at Cashfree? Let's look at it. So quickly overview what types of fraud it. I mean, we are aware about it, but just giving you an idea. P2P is person to person, where you send money to someone else on UPI, right? All of that things. You get feared calls. A lot of FedEx calls are happening. Police are asking you money. That is P2P. Someone is asking money. You over that. But why I will send 10 lakh rupees suddenly to a new UPI? Something is fishy, right? And then there is unauthorized fraud also. You get an UPI collect link on your phone. Someone is requesting money. You don't know who is requesting. Then you install some malicious app that also pass your OTPs. If this is good, merchants are there. Your credit card is good, but you suddenly my credit card is getting used on some website, right? Outside India. Then what? These are those types of frauds. I will not go what models will we have built. You guys were telling good ideas, these features and all of it. I will tell how these we are using at scale in life. So our product we call Risk Shield, and this is a industry first model which is in real time detects frauds and stop you and gives you an second authentication to the user and to the merchant that okay, this is risky. We wanted to approve it. Either IVR call on the customer or the merchants have this kind of dashboard where they can see this suspicious transactions were detected. Do you want to accept it or not? Right? These models are getting used by these companies. Right? All the big players. Now you might be wondering, Swiggy has a good data science team. Why are they using it? Right? We are a payment aggregator and we know what fraud happening on Zomato also and other companies also. If you have done fraud there and you are coming on Swiggy, I am already aware about you. So that data we leverage it and all lot of it. I know about your cards payments also. I know about your UPI payments also. So that is what the advantage, and thus people are interested in it. But here you can see all the transactions get blocked. You get the reason and you get the inaction. These merchants do. You get an IVR call also. Now how that is happening? UPI is very fast. It's a validation by NPCI that you have to complete it in within 50 milliseconds. You initiate and while you are entering PIN, transaction should be done. Now ML models are very heavy or the entire data engineering pipelines are very heavy. How are we doing it? So this is an async call which happens separate from the payment calls to the banks. Async it happens. Transaction initiates, it's called to our risk service shield here and which comprises of these modules. Now one of the things was how do you calculate your features in real time? When we are operating at the scale of 5 TPS, 10 TPS and reaching at maximum TPS, you need to calculate these features. Hardik, how much transaction he had done in entire lifespan, how much cards payments I have done in lifespan. Now for every transaction, if I calculate that, my overhead will be very high, right? So your data engineering pipeline should be very robust. So what we do is we use services like Redis, and there's Apache Flink, which is a real-time aggregation feature service. It actually retains the older information in memory, adds up to it, and just process the request. So older information, let my previous transaction from yesterday till lifetime stored in our databases in S3. Then Flink fetches it, calculates the new data, push into the Redis so that is accessibly accessed, easily accessible to the services. So this is the data pipeline setup. And then there is Rishi data service, I mean the data science stuff of it. What are the parameters we are using? I'll not explain in depth, but lot of these things comprises to a risk model. You have your machine learning models trained on parameters, but you need more social data as well. We have integrated Truecaller. On Truecaller, someone has, is it working? Hello? Oh, sorry. Truecaller data is there. Someone reports you on Truecaller, we get to know about it. You have done chargeback. I think the battery is low. You have done chargeback on some company, and the company reports to the police, and police reports to the cybercrime cells. We get all data as well because we are RBI regulated. So we have access to that data. That you have done some chargebacks there. Those companies added to their block list. Now Zomato's block list is accessible to Swiggy as well. So all kind of crowdsourcing data we pulled so much together that we are able to build such intelligent. And if it is intelligent, you have to serve within specified time limits as well. So this entire model is working under 30 milliseconds, which is very achievable. We are very proud of it. That's there. That's all about it. I think we have explained the entire journey in a fintech, how merchants on board, how good customers on board, how transactions are ensured.
If you're serious about a career in AI, follow Deep Tech Stars on your favorite social media platforms.